Hello guys, welcome to another important subject of engineering for civil students. The subject is known as strength of material. Yes, once you studied engineering mechanics, in further years you should know or you should have the knowledge of strength of materials. So let us start that subject. So the basic and most fundamentals of that subject based on the stress and strain. So what is this? Let us see. Before deriving anything or any equation or any law, we have to do certain assumptions because some theories are not definable. So to have accuracy in answers, we have to do or some create some assumption. So for stress and strain, first assumption is member are always continuous. Yes. For while calculating stresses on each member, so the crack in member or any failure or any plane bursting is neglected. So the member should remain continuous. So second assumption is material are homogeneous and isotropic. These two terms are very important in strength of material. First, what is homogeneous? Homogeneous means one particular direction property is same. For example, a material we consider. So there are many atoms in that material. Let us consider the atom in x direction. Any part in x direction. They have same property in one particular direction, that is in x. Are you getting my point? So next is isotropic. So isotropic is defining by many atoms. Okay. So if material has many atoms along many direction, that is x, y, z, orthogonal or any direction. So the property along this any direction is same as of first two or any direction. So along each and every direction, we got the same property, that is density or any weight of that atom or some size of and shape of that atom. So along that we got the same. So what is homogeneous plus isotropic? As we discussed, at any point in any direction properties must same. So for homogeneous and isotropic, we consider any point along that. So the properties along any direction must be same. So while calculating stress and strain, we neglect the self weight because self weight are neglected to have accuracy in answer because they are calculated due to external loads. So in next, see what is stress. Yes, what is stress? Many of students have confusing the defining the stress. They directly say that it is a load upon area or external force upon area. See, my friends, the stress is not the load upon area. It is an internal resistance force or internal resistive force produced per unit area due to external loads. Now see in the figure, there are P forces applying on the member, which is compressive in nature, which will produce the internal resistance in that member. That internal resistive force divided by cross-sectional area gives the stress. Okay, for homogeneous and isotropic material, R is equal to P, means the internal resistance generated is equal to the external forces for the homogeneous and isotropic material. So stress is divided into two main parts. First is normal stress. That is the force is perpendicular to the area. Means see in the figure the sigma generated perpendicular to that plane. And next is shear stress tau. It is force tangential to the area. Now see in the figure the upper face of the cube or the any particle, the upper area is tangential surface. This is known as tau. So shear stress generated along the tangential surface. See in the figure. Now stress is called as tensor. Why stress is called as a tensor? Not vector or scalar. It is called as tensor. So for defining stress, as we initially seen that homogeneous and isotropic material, there are many directions. The property is same. So as to describe the complete state of stress, we should consider it multi-direction effect on elements. It have multiple direction as well as magnitude. Yes, to define the state of stress, it have many direction. So you can't say that the stress along simply x direction, simply in y direction. So stresses may be along every direction. At every rotation, the stresses are generated. So it is very difficult to say that stress as a stress as a vector or scalar. So it has a multi-direction property, and as well as the magnitudes are changing along each and every direction. So that's why the stress is called as a tensor. So let's see next. Yes, unit of stress. Yes, basically the unit of stress is pressure units. Pressure unit, that is a Pascal. 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. So basically for our easiness, we have derived mega, giga and kilopascal. So 1 megapascal is equal to 10 raised to 6 Pascal, or 1 gigapascal is equal to 10 raised to 9 Pascal, or 1 kilopascal is equal to 10 raised to 3 Pascal. So again, we are using some units in Newton and mm. So 1 MPa is equal to 10 raised to 6 Pascal is directly equal to 10 raised to 6 Newton per mm square. That is not, and same equal to 1 Newton per mm square. So as shown in figure below, 1 MPa is equal to 1 Newton per mm square, 1 GPa is equal to 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square. But in case of kPa, 1 kPa is equal to 10 raised to 3 Newton per meter square. So see that there is a meter, not mm. So let us move. So what is strain? Yes, strain is a very basic and very important topic in strength of material. So what is normal strain? Normal strain is denoted by letter epsilon, is a change in dimension upon original dimension. As we see that the upper and lower parts have same unit, so the unit of strain is no unit. So dimension divided by dimension always give no unit. So basically normal strain divided into two parts. First is linear strain. Okay, linear strain is always measured along the direction of load, or along the direction of force where we apply the load. So see in the figure, the original position of the member is drawn by blue color, and the P forces applying the member are tensile forces. So these tensile forces increasing the length of member, that is initial length of member is L, and then after application of load something P, the final length of member is L dash. So along direction of load, the linear strain is L dash minus L whole divided by L. That is change in dimension, we get L dash minus L, and original dimension is L. So this is linear strain. So second is lateral strain. Along direction rather than load direction. Okay. So along direction, the load is applied along the length. So direction rather than low direction is a perpendicular direction, that is B, that is the width of that bar or member. So as we see that if we apply tensile load, one dimension is increasing and other dimension is decreasing. So initial dimension of width is B, and due to the tensile load the final dimension is B dash. So the lateral strain is equal to B minus B dash whole divided by B. So this gives the value of lateral strain. So see what in the next. Now again the important part is shear strain. Yes, shear strain is create the angular distortion between the mutually perpendicular planes in radians. Okay, see in the figure there is a one element is a mark along x and y direction. So if we applied the shearing force, that the elements start to distract or distort along its original position, that is along y it generate theta 2, so along x it generate theta 1. So simply the shear strain is denoted by letter gamma is equal to addition of angular distortion in radians. So theta 1 and theta 2 are the value of angular distortion. So we have to measure this angular distortion in radians. Simply it gives us the value of shear strain. Basically shear strain we have calculated based on shear stress, but here the basic concept of shear strain is the angular distortion between any two mutually perpendicular planes due to shearing force. Okay, hope you have got the initiality of that strength of material in stress and strain. We will see the many concepts in stress and strain, that is thermal stresses or Hooke's law, stress strain curve, what is the elastic constant. So hope we'll meet in the next part with that subject. So thank you, stay safe, stay home, have a good day.